Right then guys, welcome back to another video. Before we start, if you want to join the free school community, yeah, it is free. We started it about a day ago and there's already hundreds of people in there, so you can join now guys. The link will be below. Interesting content in there, a little bit more than what you get on YouTube. So I want the best of the YouTube community in there, the guys that, you know, genuinely want to improve, believe in the brand, the channel and stuff like that. I want to see you guys in there. We can all help each other as a community. That would be cool. So the reason for this video guys is I was speaking with a real close friend of mine the other day, and without going into detail, he just asked, he said, how do I get over the feeling of not doing enough? And I was like, I'll make a video on this because I've had this question a few times from a few different people, and it's definitely a consequence of today's era where, you know, a lot of people just feel as though they're not doing enough all the time. They feel as though they're behind in life. They feel as though, you know, I've had it as well where somebody says they're doing like a million a month, and you're like, what? Why am I not doing a million a month? Like, there must be a way that I can do that too. But do you remember the old Tommy Shelby quote where he was like, it's just myself talking about myself to myself? That's a lot of life's problems, I'm telling you guys. I realized this in the last like year or so. I actually said to myself a few times, it's just myself talking about myself. And it's a problem that doesn't actually exist. It's just like a construct that you've created in your own heads that I'm not good enough. What are we doing with our life? It's almost like Gollum, you know, Smeagol and Gollum from Lord of the Rings. You're almost going back and forth with yourself, like, how have I not done this? How have I not done that yet? That person's killing it, that person, whatever. And it's just this internal narrative that doesn't actually match reality, because it's strange actually. You see like I think it's healthy. I think you guys should be happy, because I think there's two internal dialogues, and I don't want to label certain people, but I do think there's a feminine and a masculine dialogue where I think, I don't know actually. Do you know what? I don't actually know. I'm not backing out of that point. I just don't. I'm thinking about it a little bit deeper, and I don't know. Everyone has insecurities in different areas, but one thing I have noticed about men is, I guess it's a 50-50 split, because I do know men that are on the other side of the fence, but you know, for a lot of men, we almost don't see accomplishments. I do think like if a woman gets a new job, they all meet up, they go out as a group of 10 and they celebrate her new job. As a man, like, you accomplish something, nobody really cares. And then the following day you wake up and you're like, that's good, but now I need to go further. What's the next thing? What's the next thing? It doesn't stop. It's a testosterone thing. It's an ambition thing. It's a provider metric. I don't think you ever escape it. I don't think you can ever get away from it, guys. It is a difficult thing, but you just need to handle your mind. And I know this sounds so strange, but I'm telling you, this is how I did it. Where you really get on top of these things by just going, wow, no, this isn't part of the video, by the way. Apartments like that should not exist around here. Whoever's built them, it's amazing. They've got all these massive penthouses. That's impressive, well done. But I got on top of this mentality by just saying to myself, is it as bad as you think it is? Are you doing well? Like, is this good? Have you accomplished this? And you just sit there and you actually have this like internal narrative with yourself in a different sense. And it used to take other people to bring that out of me. They'd go, yeah, but look at everything that you've done. Look how great this is. Look how much you've achieved in the last, just 2 years ago, you were here and stuff like this. I've started doing that to myself because I think I deserve it. I think it's healthy. And you've got to know the difference. To get around this, you've got to know the difference between patience and laziness. And I've made videos on this before, but I think it's so good to reiterate with new people that are arriving all the time. And it's also a healthy reminder. There's a massive difference between patience and laziness. So if you're the type of guy who sat there saying, I'm not doing enough, but in your heart of hearts, you know you're not doing enough because you're taking days off, you're chilling, you're getting up late, you're lying in bed, and then you're going, I just feel like I'm not doing enough. Well, yeah, you're not, because you're not doing anything. Do you know what I mean? You're not working hard. You're not putting that effort in. You're lying to yourself. You're cheating yourself. Like, that's different. Whereas patience is like, okay, I'm 24 years old. I've done as much as I could with what I have, financially, physically, whatever it might be, you know, with my contact list, professionally, with the knowledge that I have, because that's a big part of this actually, guys. If you're like starting a new business, or you're trying to get something off the ground, or you're trying to figure something out in life, but you've never done it before, how can you put that pressure on yourself? Because you don't know what you don't know. Like, what were you supposed to do? Just have all the answers from day one? Like, somebody else is going to be better than you at that. Like, there's people that are better than me at systems, and I've brought them in this year, and I've said to them, look, I'm not the systems guy. I'm very much idea, sales, you know, come up with something clever. What, is this a road or is this a dirt track? What the hell is that? Sort your road out, man. It's supposed to be like a flat, normal road. Who built that? Jesus Christ. Had you guys bouncing around like a yo-yo? I usually save that for a Saturday night. But yeah, like, there's guys out there that are better at systems than I am. I needed them. This year I need them. I need to bring them in. Like, how does that work? Like, I don't do that. I'm very much like a sales guy. I get anybody across the line whenever I want. Like, I can go into a meeting, sit opposite somebody. I could sell anything to anybody. That's my strengths. You know, talking is my strength. Human communication. I'm an old school man. Like, that's my strength. Other people are better at systems, setting things up and stuff like that. Well, I need to bring them in. You need to do that. You need to have individuals that have skills that you don't have, and they complement yours, and that's where you can take it to the next level. You're not going to have all the answers from day one. You're not going to know how to get from A to B without finding the right individual, without going through a certain life experience that almost cripples you and, you know, just completely destroys your entire business. And then, you know, you go, okay, let's do it properly the next time. You have to have these experiences in life. Now, you have to understand as well, everybody's journey is different. Somebody, and we get this confused too, because you say, oh, somebody's gone straight to the top, but then you realize actually they did 10-year journey, they just did it earlier than the average person. So people forget that too. But everybody's journey is different. Like, it might take me 20 years, it might take you 5. Well done, you're better than me at that. I'll admit that, I don't care. But I'm in my own lane. I'm just in my own pocket, and I'm just doing my own thing all the time. I don't really compare to other people. If it seeps into my mind and I go, damn, that guy's making like 10 times more than me per month, and he's living in my dream house, in my dream location, I never get jealous. I've never been a jealous person. I've never had envy. I will see it as a kick up the arse, where I'm like, if he can do it, I can do it. But then I just immediately revisit back into my own lane, and I'm like, just focus on you. Just focus on what you're doing, because I don't need to run my business and run his. I don't need to run my business and worry about his and stuff like that. What's he doing that I'm not doing? If that helps me and it's beneficial, great. But I don't need to be keeping, you know, like they said, like, winners focus on winning. That's all I want to do. I normally sat there as some loser going, yeah, but he's lost views this month, so that means I'm ahead. Like, that doesn't help you one bit, guys. So when you're comparing with other people and you're saying he's better than me, he's done this, it's your own thing. You're building your own journey. You know, you don't have to knock everybody else's building down to build the tallest building. Do you know what I mean? You can just build your own one and just chip away at it over time. And I always think too, you're not on top today. Maybe you're like top 40%, right, in the rankings, if you were to do it in that kind of autistic way. However, if in your 40s you're top dog and you're top 0.1%, would you be happy? Because I would. I would. I think to myself, if I was broke from like now until 40, but at 40 I was worth like 200 million, I'd take that. I think that's a very nice life, because do you know what everyone's keen to do? And I'm telling you guys, it's not as great as it sounds at the start. Like, having shit, being successful, being rich, yeah, it's great. But people want to do it overnight. They're like, I want to do it tomorrow. I want all this now. You do, right? I'm never going to take that away from you guys. You do. You want to enjoy it all. You want to have fun in life. You want to experience these things now. I get it. You want to do it while you're young. You want to have that balance of youth, money, fitness, everything. You want to be like the perfect man as a combination. I can massively understand that, because that's something that I always wanted. But I'm telling you guys, happiness comes from a linear journey. like, I think to myself, this year, if my life ends up being exactly where I want it to be, and I tick all those boxes, you then face the problem of what's next. Which is fine if you have a what's next, but if you don't have a what's next, you're going to be really unhappy. You're going to be kind of like just bored, and you'll be like, damn, I wish I enjoyed the journey. Like, it taking a little bit longer is actually quite fun. Like I said to a friend of mine the other day, I'm glad I'm 32 doing what I'm doing now. If I was doing it at 21, it would have gone to my head. I would have spent the lot, and I probably would have got the wrong woman pregnant. I would have just gone a little bit crazy, a little bit haywire, and it wouldn't have been a good situation, put it that way. And I'm very grateful that I'm experiencing it all now at 32, where I can very much step back and handle it as well. Where, you know, I've had a lot of online hate. There's a lot of videos out there on me, which I could reply to right now because they all look. Listen to me now. Every one of you fuckers that made all these videos and said that you're a scammer and all this, you look really stupid right now, because 1M International, which was 1M House at the time, has hundreds of members, and it has people staying there all the time. Like, we've literally got footage of people that were at the house. Like, I find it hilarious. Simp Society, the stream platform project, I put it out there and it's had 156,000 views in a month, and everyone's like, whoa, this is incredible, this is unbelievable content. Like, I didn't know it was at this level. So like, I could come for every single one of you right now, but I'm not going to, because I'm not that guy. But imagine if I was 21 trying to deal with all of that. I would make the response videos, I would cause the YouTube beef and the drama, and it just wouldn't be congruent with who I am and my business and whatever. But you have to be able to handle all of that shit. You have to be able to be on top of it. And, you know, with more money does come more problems. It really does. There's a lot more shit that you have to deal with that you didn't really think of before. Everybody comes for you. Everybody tries to steal from you, get rich off you, take money from you. They see you as a cash cow. I particularly don't want that at 21. If somebody said to me, you can go back now and be 21 years old and have everything that you've got, I'd be like, no, I don't actually want it, because I need to become a certain type of individual first. Like, if you're not making X amount of money, it's probably because you're doing something wrong. It's probably because you haven't got the systems in place. You're not the type of individual and whatever. And Alex Hormozi's got a fantastic quote on this, which is, when you start doing things the right way, when you start, you know, acting like a top level individual, there's a massive time delay between that and when you get results. And that's what a lot of you are in. You're in, like, I've spoken about purgatory before in terms of like attracting women and having a nice life and being in a good mental state. There's a business purgatory, or a 9-to-5 job purgatory, where when you start acting that certain way, you start acting like a high level man, you start performing at a higher level, you start getting up early, going to bed early, eating the right foods and whatnot. It might be like 3-4 years before you actually see any results, maybe even longer. In terms of business, it might be 5, 6, 7 years. But then, like Alex says as well, it all comes at once. Everything comes at once, and you just get all the results overnight. A lot of you guys will feel like spoilt children, because that's how I felt. When things are going wrong, I'm going to complain. Once they started going right, when I started getting those results, like Hormozi said, I went, oh, this is great. And I realized, oh shit, you were acting like a spoilt brat during the times where it was going bad. Like, that's not a good way to live. I tell you what isn't a good way to live: cycling at 2 miles per hour on a major road. That's not a good way to live. Should we give him a little nod? No, I'm kidding, guys. I'm not that guy. Come on, give me some credit. Imagine if they watched the video. Sorry. But yeah, there's going to be a time delay. There's going to be a time delay between when you're doing the right things right now and you're getting impatient. And I mean, Hormozi's got another great quote on this as well. He said, I think it was along the lines of, it's taking a long time because you're in a rush. I love that. It's taking a long time because you're in a rush. I'll put this into context. If somebody said, you know, when you're traveling home from work on the tube in London, New York, underground train station, whatever it is, I don't know what you have. But if you're traveling back from work and you hit a red light and you have to stop, and it takes, I don't know what, like, it's going to be a 10-minute delay. It's the longest 10 minutes of your life. It is like when you're on the train and you're like, oh, I just want to get home. How long have we been here? Fucking hell, we've been sat here like an hour. It's not an hour, you're just in a rush. So it feels longer. You start acting differently. You start getting impatient. It's not a nice feeling. Whereas if you're, let's say, have they pulled in for that person? No, okay. People drive weird around here. Don't lie, they haven't, have they? Nah, we're all good. Fuck it, I'm just gonna piss off a lot of people. Bear with me, guys. Probably gonna have 2 fights here. Oh, they've all stopped for me. They know who the first man is, that's why. If you're driving back from somewhere, let's say it's the journey I did the other day, right? I've just driven a shit ton. And then the next day we were like, right, today we're gonna drive from Bordeaux to Paris. And it ended up being like 7 hours or something like that. It was like 6 hours to get there. I was like, right, I know it's 6 hours and I know when we get there, we're gonna be in Paris. Oh, that's fun. I was like, I'm looking forward to it. So those 6 hours flew by. I was like, what, we've only got an hour left. I was like, that's incredible. I can't wait to get there. This is gonna be sick. It's because I wasn't in a rush, because I knew I was going somewhere really cool. I knew we were staying overnight. I knew we were gonna get a ton of time there. I knew we were gonna get there at a reasonable time, and we were going somewhere amazing. I was just like, hey, I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be cool. We're gonna see some cool stuff along the way and whatever. And it just felt different. And Hormozi's so spot on with that quote, is that it feels like it's taking a long time because you're in a rush. You know, you're urgent to get there, which I understand, I really do, guys, but it actually has a negative effect on your mental health. It has a negative effect on your decision making. It's not beneficial. It really isn't. And it's the hardest thing in this social media era to get into young people's heads. That there's skyrocketers. There's people that are like 18 years old. Like, I mean, you look at the footballer, Lamine Yamal, who plays Barcelona. He's like 17 years old. The guy's probably worth tens of millions already. And he's just skyrocketed to the top of life. One of the most famous people alive. That's not you. Get over it. Get past it. I tried to be a professional footballer as well. Turns out it wasn't me. Didn't end up making it. Is what it is. Get over it. Then you need to put it in your head. I'm a slow burner. I'm a normal guy. I'm a normal guy. I'm a slow burner. I'm just that guy. Okay, which is, believe it or not, 99.9% of people, which is something we forget because all we see is the 0.01% on social media, and that's the issue. Well, it's 0.1%. That's what you see on social media all the time. You just see the people who did it overnight, that did it quickly, that are 26 years old, that are making 100 million a year. That's all you see. And look, I've been guilty of it as well. I've said figures in the past. I try not to do it as much anymore because I know it makes people feel bad. Does it give people things to strive for? Yeah, but it also makes me a target, which I don't like anymore. But you guys have got to understand something about this whole social media era as well. There's 2 worlds. There's the normal world, and then there's the world that we all live in because we're trying to improve and we're consuming this information. And 10 grand a month isn't a lot of money to a lot of us. We're like, 10 grand a month? Yeah, it's not bad. Like, I know loads of people that are doing that. Do you know how much 10 grand a month is in the real world? And how far that can actually get you, and the house that you can have, and the life that you can have. Guys, that level of money will make you look like a multi-millionaire. You'll be balling out of control. You can do anything you want with that level of money. Live anywhere in the world. 10 grand a month is insane. That's crazy money. But we've got this impression now that it's not. And you've got to be careful. You've got to understand that there are 2 worlds. There's the real world and the world that we all live in, because we're obsessed with becoming better and improving. And it changes your mind. It puts you in a weird situation. You almost become numb to normality. Now, here's what you got to understand about the social media world as well. Urgency gets people paid. If I said to you guys right now, you're a bum, you're going nowhere, your life's going nowhere, you should feel like shit, you should be doing more. What, you're 25 and you're broke? Like, mate, do you know what you need to do? I could change your life. Buy my course. Do you know what would change your life? You're in shit shape and stuff like that. Guess what? I've got the perfect solution for you. Buy my supplement. That's different because I've actually had to put money into it, but a course is the perfect strategy for a lot of people. You're struggling, your mental health's on the floor, you're desperate. I'm going to upload a picture of me looking jacked on a beach or in a Lamborghini that I don't actually own, and I'm going to make you feel bad, and I'm going to tap into these emotional pressure points. And then what you're going to do is impulsively spend money that you don't have, and you're going to go down to your last penny, because Tai Lopez about 15 years ago told everybody, if you're not willing to spend money on knowledge, then how are you ever going to become successful? And the industry just ran with that. He said, if it was my last £2,000, I would spend it on a course that would make me 100,000. And the industry ever since has just fed off that with the world's biggest fork and the world's sharpest knife. And they're getting fat as fuck off it. It's just a narrative that's been put out there, and it's just like we've almost created this sense of urgency that doesn't need to be there. Now, if somebody's watching this and they're like, look, I'm 20 years old, I want success now, why should I wait? You shouldn't. You should go after it. If you can get it quicker, then get it quicker. You've only got one life, like go and live it. I don't want you to suffer. You should go after it. But just know that it's probably going to be a slog. That's different. To be like I'm working my balls off, like I said, probably like 20 minutes ago now. Patience versus laziness. That's patience. Like being patient and working hard. There's like working hard towards something, putting everything into something, wanting it now, but being patient. That's the same thing. Like that's the same thing. People don't understand that. I think being patient is just going, I'll wait until I'm 38. No, like patience is just, I'm going to do the right things and it will happen when it happens. And I know a lot of you struggle with this because you struggle with women, and women is the same thing. It's patience. Women is, you'll come to me when you're ready. You'll fall in love with me when you're ready. You'll want to be my girlfriend when you decide. You'll, talk about kids and marriage when you're ready. It's the same thing. As men, you just need to be stoic and patient all the time. Whether it's business, whether it's, just waiting for a fucking bus in the rain, you can't complain. Like it doesn't benefit you in any sense. People think you're weak when you complain, when you're trying to rush things as a man. The stoic, silent type that just stands there waiting, that just is doing what needs to be done rather than complaining. Oh, when's that going to happen? Well, I really want this now. That's childlike behavior. Listen to how that sounds. If you put I won't do it, but if you put a little child's voice on that and said, I want it now, why can't this happen today? I've heard 3-year-olds say that. I heard my 3-year-old niece say it the other day, and she stomped her foot because she wanted to go down a slide. It's the same thing. You're saying the same thing about the Lamborghini and the house and stuff like that. You're just wasting energy, time, etc. You're in your own lane. You're doing your own thing. You're doing if you know in your heart of hearts you're doing everything that you can right now, then you've got nothing to worry about. We're all in different situations. I used to work with a guy whose dad gave him millions when he turned 21. Just gave him a massive lump sum. Bought a massive house in Canary Wharf. Handsome guy. He was sleeping with this like porn star chick. And I was broke, walking to work, saving £138 per month. And it's like we work in the same office, right? We just started at different points. And I remember saying to him one day on lunch, I was like, it's probably going to take me like 10, 15 years to get to where you started. I'm okay with that though. It's not his fault. His dad worked really hard. His dad set up an amazing business. Wanted to look after his son. Like, who am I to be angry at that? Who am I to tell him that he couldn't do that? I actually think it's a good idea. Like, I'll probably do the same for my kids. I don't know if I give them millions, but I'll set them up and make sure they're safe and they're okay. I don't want them to suffer. That's just life. That's just life. Everyone's at different starting points. This is the thing. This is a big thing that people have got in their heads. Oh, he's the same age as me. He's ahead of me. No, it's not a fair race. Life isn't a fair race. Some people start broke as piss. Some people start as millionaires. I've been through so much stress and shit in my life that it's made me tougher and it's made me more. It's crafted me for the real world, and I feel like I can deal with more than the average person, okay? However, other side of the coin, I've been through so much shit in my life. I'm tired. Like, I'm mentally drained. Like, I've been smacked to pieces by life. And yeah, it's getting easier now because life's easier. But there was a few years where I was like, I don't know if I want to keep pushing forward. I spent that summer in Clapham, and it was just rich kids who were like, we're 30 years old and we've been going, this is literally a conversation that I heard. We're 30 years old now, like, what are we doing with our lives? We've been just going out, getting drunk, enjoying ourselves. I just don't feel like I'm ready to settle down, have a family and stuff. Life's just so good and fun, and I've got you guys. And I was like, Jesus Christ, like, half the fucking people I know are dead. Like, that's the existence that I've had. And I wouldn't wish it on anybody else, but I was just like, the shit that I've gone through is ridiculous. And that's what you're dealing with. You're just dealing with two different types of worlds, and there's somebody who's worse off than me. There's some kid who's growing up right now in fucking Africa who's just like, mate, you think yourself lucky. Like, I've literally had to walk about 8 miles to get to a cafe to watch your video to find some Wi-Fi. Like, everyone's in a different boat, and you're just in your personal lane. You're just doing your own thing, and you've got to remember the difference between patience and laziness. If you're doing nothing, guess what? You'll get nothing. If you're working hard and you're constantly thinking about how can I be better, and then you're executing on it and you're constantly learning, it's gonna happen for you. It's going to work. It's going to get better. Will you be worth 100 million? Will you live the big American dream and be a billionaire? And it's not for everybody, right? Everybody's situation is different. But I'm saying it will get better. Like, your results would just have to improve. Like, if you go to the gym 6 days in a row, every week, or let's just say 6 days a week you go to the gym, and you're consistent with your diet, if you come back to me in like 5 years' time and say it didn't work, I'd be like, hang on a minute, you've done something. Like, you fucked up. It just will work. If you're going to the gym consistently and training and you're eating clean foods, going to bed early, testosterone's high because you're living that lifestyle, like, you're drinking 4 litres of water per day, like, I'd be shocked. Come back to me in a year and tell me you're not in better shape. You just will be. And it's the same with success. You do the right things, but there will be a delay, and the delay is different for everybody because it depends on your business. It depends on your 9-to-5 job. It depends on, the product that you're selling. It depends on the market. Some people built up, and COVID hit and they lost everything and had to go again. Life doesn't care. Life doesn't discriminate. Life will not pull you to the side and go, do you know what, I've hit you with enough punches. It's just, a little bit of luck, a little bit of timing, right place, right time. But you keep at it long enough and eventually the dam will break and it will go in your favor because there's too many positives pushing forward in that certain direction. But just because I did it in 8 years doesn't mean you'll do it in 8. You might do it in 4. It might take you 20. It's different for everybody. You might have had a kid, so now you have to do things slower than I do because I can be more selfish and put more money in. There's guys out there that I know that make me look poor as shit. They're making so much money per month that they're making in a week what it would take me 2-3 months to earn, and I'm considered doing well in life. I'm considered top like 0.1%. And there's guys out there that are doing my sort of numbers every single week. It's insane. And you're just like, hey, good for that guy. Like, I'm living my own personal journey, very happy with where I'm at. I've got my own plans. I'm working on them. Do I hope to get to that level? Yeah, I would love to. I would love to get to that level. I would feel like that I've accomplished something for me personally and the plans that I have moving forward. But I know I'm not going to get there immediately. They're obviously doing something or have a system in place, or they've figured something out that I haven't figured out yet. So I'm going to stick to my own strategy, stick to what I'm doing. A lot of people want to jump ship and go and do something new and be like, oh, there's money in this industry and that industry. Just keep building up the skills. Remember that you're being patient, not lazy. Completely different. And just, you're working towards something. You're chipping away every single day. And that's how you get over the fear of feeling like you're not doing enough every single day. Because what is the limit for doing enough? Because I know guys that work 3 hours a day that make $1 million a month. I also know guys that, work their absolute bollocks off and they're worth hundreds of millions. It's just different for everybody. It's just different systems that you put in play. A big strategy is, what's the biggest bang for your buck? Are you wasting time, or are you just doing the most important thing every day that's going to get you the best results? That's what I tend to do. Everybody should read the book The One Thing by Gary Keller, and you just think, what's the one thing I can do? I do weekly task lists, not daily, because I think daily just distracts you, just makes you feel like you're busy rather than actually accomplishing something major. And when you have weekly task lists as well, guys, you're more likely to find the big thing that's going to take 2-3 days to work on, that might take a week to work on. You start thinking bigger. I've tried monthly, it's too wide. You lose track of where you are, otherwise I'd do that. But weekly is perfect. You end up finding, like, what's the 10 things I need to do this week that will get me from stage A to stage B? That helps. But there is no set system. There is no set system. If you feel as though you're not doing enough, well, are you working hard enough? Are you putting the hours in? Are you taking a Saturday off? That's not a problem. It's normal. Don't let social media think that everyone's doing 7 days a week. There's a lot of these guys out here that say, oh, I'm doing 7 days a week, I'm doing 18 hours a day, I live the same day on repeat. If you are, well done, but I don't want that life, number one. And number two, I don't think that's a good way to live. I personally don't think they are living like that, because I remember Gary Vee, as great a guy as he is, I remember him years ago saying, yeah, I do like 18-hour days, then I sleep for 6, and then I see my kids for 2. Like, the maths didn't add up, and everyone was like, maybe he's just tired, I don't know, but the numbers would change all the time. And like, he's a great guy, and I do believe he's working his balls off, but it's just nobody's doing those hours. You don't want to, and especially when you get money, you want to take a trip to Paris, you want to go and do cool shit, you want to enjoy yourself, and so you should, because it's a better balance of life. But social media has put it in your head that I'm doing 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Why aren't you? They're not. A lot of people aren't, right? So every single day, you just want to put in quality work. Like Jeff Bezos doesn't get up till like 7 a.m. You'd think he'd be up at 4 a.m. based on what social media says. And he's like, no, I need 8 hours so that I can think properly. It's like the old Tommy Shelby quote when he was like, what do you do, Tommy? And he's like, I think, Arthur. I think. That's what a lot of these top guys do. They think. They just sit there and come up with ideas, and they plan and they strategize and they take their time. Warren Buffett used to sit there with a newspaper, it probably still does, sit there with a newspaper every morning and just take as much information out of the world as possible and just be like, what do I need to invest in? Let me just gather information before I make any decisions, before I do any work today. It's important to have those moments. If you're constantly thinking, how can I do more? You're probably doing less effective work. Now, I think should you be, you shouldn't just be busy for the sake of being busy. You should be effective. Should you be putting the hours in? Yeah. But it's like, what do I actually need to do? What's the one thing that I can do today or this week that's going to take my business or my 9-to-5 job up to the next level? Like what's going to get me noticed? What if I work on this year will take me next year to a whole nother level? That's then worth putting the time into. If you're just trying to find stuff to do so that you can become successful, you'll never be successful. That's a lack of patience, and that's what I'm talking about. When you're patient, you go, well, I've done enough today. I've done everything I needed to do. There's nothing else I can do. Let me go to the gym. Let me go and hang out with some friends. Oh, that football match is on. I'm actually going to watch it because I feel as though I've done everything I needed to do. There we go, guys. Yeah, it'll be like, yeah, I feel as though I've done everything I need to do. I'm ahead of the game. There's nothing I can do until Monday when everything arrives. This is probably the time to take my break. I mean, I look at Manchester City, the team that I support, the football team, and the manager, Pep Guardiola, instead of putting the best team out every week, he looks at the fixture list and he goes, we've got 2 really tough games next week. I'm going to rest my best players this week. As much as those players don't want to rest, they're like, I want to play every game. You go, we have to be smart because the idea is to pick up the trophies at the end of the season. Like Gary Vee said, a lot of people are trying to win the game at halftime. You have to look at it. A lot of you are looking at life as like a cup competition, like a knockout tournament. It's me versus this person. I have to win, otherwise it's over. Like it's not boxing. This is more like MMA, where you're like building yourself up for greatness at the end. And I look at it as like a season. If you get to like Christmas in the Premier League, you Americans might not understand what I'm talking about, but imagine like in the NFL, it's like halfway through the season, right? So you get halfway through the season in the Premier League and you're like second in the table. The team that's top's 5 points ahead. All the media is saying that team's going to win. They're miles ahead. They look better than everybody else. They could get tired. They could get injuries. You've got another 6 months of the season to go, or 5 months of the season to go. That's a long time. That's the business end of the competition. That's when it really matters. That's where I position myself. Like, I've taken a massive, massive hit on YouTube in the last year. You guys saw it. The amount of shit I got, the amount of people that were talking garbage about me, all the videos that were made. My brand was nearly destroyed. I didn't care because I knew I had to do it. I'm not going to make YouTube videos forever in this style. It's going to be more vlog content. It's going to be the podcast. I had to work towards that. 1M International is probably the best thing that's ever happened to this industry. I will say that without fail. Everybody who's signed up would say that too. If anybody's watching this, write in the comments your experience from 1M House so far. I think there's like 3 people that just weren't happy, but you're always going to get that. Everybody else has said it's phenomenal. They've spent the time at the house. They've enjoyed it. I was there with a lot of the guys the other day. The launch party was phenomenal. So, I knew I had to do this. I knew I wanted to build some form of a streaming platform, higher level content, documentaries, series, movies. I wanted to act. I see this working in when I'm 32 now. I see it working when I'm like 35, 36, 37, 38 on like a grand scale. And I've got plans to take this whole industry over. I honestly think everyone's asleep just doing the same shit on repeat. I've got plans to take the whole industry over. You have to be brave enough to take the short-term hit for the long-term gain, and a lot of people just revert back to type. Oh, it's not working, let me just go back to what was working before. That's like leaving your ex-girlfriend because she's not good enough, being sexless. You realize she's not the one, she's got some problems, I shouldn't be with her. And then 2 months go by and you had a little drive spell and you're horny and you message her and you're like, I think we should get back together, I miss you. It's the same thing. It's the exact same thing. It's a weak mentality. You have to be moving forwards. You have to take the criticism and then you cash in later on down the line. It's like Henry Ford said about his cars. They were like, oh, do you ever listen to the customers? And it's like, yeah, you can get feedback, but the initial idea and the direction, like who's steering the ship, you can't do it, because if you asked your customers, if you asked the world, what should I do? Henry Ford's quote was, they would just say, I want a faster horse that eats less hay. And it's true, because people reach out to me all the time and they go, do you know what you should do with your business? And I'm like, well, how big's your business? How much money are you making? You know, what have you done this year? How big's your YouTube following then if I'm doing it wrong? Oh, I don't have one. So it's just like, that's what you get in the world, right? So you just have to have a clear vision, clear direction. You know where you want to head with it. And yeah, there's going to be ups and downs, but it's going to happen. And like here's what people are doing right now. They've become afraid to make mistakes. And I think I figured out why. Because this whole generation now is public. So there's companies out there that have made terrible mistakes, but they've only pissed off 1 or 2 customers. Maybe there's like a builder out there who's pissed off 2 customers, but it's only 4 people that maybe hate him, like the wife and the husband and whatever. 4 people hate him, but his business is still going and loads of people think he's great. Whenever I do anything, 170,000 people see it, and then loads of people make videos on it and whatnot. So whatever you do, it goes out public. So every mistake I make is public. Every mistake somebody makes on social media is public. So people think you have to be perfect. You don't. I'm happy to make these mistakes and just keep moving forward. I'm happy to come up with ideas, take the criticism, take the shit, and people, oh, I wouldn't do that, Chris, because why? Because the masses are upset? No, that's not my intention. My intention is to go and do whatever I want to do in life and come up with good ideas and execute on them. And if it takes 10 years to see them come to full fruition, then that's what I'm willing to do, because it's a big world outside of YouTube, and that's where I've always positioned myself. I do this just to help you guys. I do this because I like the community. This is where it began, and I'll always have an element of this. I like it. I enjoy it. This is fun. Driving around right now talking to you guys. I love this. I can't wait to start the podcast. It's amazing. But if you think I can't sell 50 trench coats to people on the street, you're crazy. If you think I can't set up a shop and do it the traditional way, if you think I can't put like $5,000 into marketing and sell, 100 of each item of clothing and whatever, and make more than I make off YouTube, you're crazy. The world's massive. Like, I could do that in a heartbeat. So, I do a lot of this because I enjoy it. I do a lot of this because I've got all these ideas and I want to see them. I want to be able to help you guys. But everybody's fearful of the repercussions. And what they do is, as soon as they get a bit of backlash, they revert to type. They go back to what did work, and it's not a good idea. It's not healthy. And that comes from, like I said, a lack of patience. It comes full circle. This is where everyone's struggling. This is where so many young people are struggling. And, I'm not doing enough. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. Just have a vision. Just stick to your vision. You know what you're doing. Stay in your own lane. Work on it. Get it to where you can get it to, and then bring extra help in. And if it takes 10 years, if it takes 15 years, so be it. But what you're trying to do is become a certain type of individual that can handle that. If you do it too quick, you just lose it all. It's just not a good idea, guys. I promise you. And everyone's panicking in this social media driven generation. I'm in my own lane, doing my own thing, enjoying myself, having the time of my life, and I know what I want to do. And people put pressure on me unnecessarily all the time, and I just get rid of them out of my life. I don't need them. Like, it's silly. Like, people are strange. People are really strange. You don't need it in your life. It's just so much easier to just get rid of these people, I'm telling you. It's yeah, I don't like that. I don't like it when somebody tries to force something. I'm working with 2 guys at the moment, and they said it might take 6 months to a year, but it's really good for the brand and it'll be good for the people. And I was like, perfect. Like that, you're speaking my language. That's how I do things. I take like 2 years I come up with an idea, and it takes like 2 years for it to really mature and get to the highest possible level. That's how I want it to be. It shouldn't be, I've come up with a course and I've executed on it in 30 days. And you guys should give me $3,000. Like, you just know that course is going to be bollocks. If it's like I've been working on this course for 2 years, it's everything I know, then I'd be like, okay, that guy's legit. But in 30 days, that just looks like a cash grab. That's not something that I'd be too fond of, signing up for and whatever. So, long-term decision making, difference between patience and laziness. And guys, stay in your own lane. Just stop worrying. It's not about being busy. Because here's the thing, if it happens for you in like 3 years time and you've been complaining for 3 years and then it just goes boom, oh, here I am, I've got all the success in the world and my perfect life, and now I feel as though I belong, and I feel like I'm worthy of this existence and stuff. Like I'm at the level everyone else is at, I've got a nicer car than my heroes, then you're going to sit there and go, oh, what was all that about? That was weird. Now I just feel silly. Now I feel stupid for moaning. Like if you were a kid and you're like, I want the sweet, I want the sweet, I want the sweet, and then they give you the sweet and you're like, I'm happy now. I don't want that. I don't want that mentality. I want to enjoy it along the way. I want to enjoy the down moments. I want to enjoy the build. I want to enjoy the highs and the lows. I want to experience all of life. I find that so fun, that I'm experiencing life along the way, that I'm learning, that I find it exhilarating. Every single day I'm like, wow. Like, that's a new experience, that's a new emotion, not felt that before. I'm becoming better as an individual. I like who I'm becoming because of it. Business is taking me on this journey, and if it takes another 10 years, hey, I'm enjoying the fuck out of this. I'm enjoying being able to create whatever I want to create every single day. I'm enjoying making mistakes. Something's going right, something's going wrong. When it goes right, is it better? Yeah, it's really fun, it's enjoyable, but it's just the learning curve, just becoming better every single time. And if you were playing a video game and in like a year's time you become really good at that video game, are you going to look back on the times that you were shit and go, oh, I wish I wasn't shit back then? You're going to look back and be like, I had to learn my craft. Remember when I first got good at the game and it became exciting to me, and I first started getting headshots on Call of Duty, and I started no-scoping people from across the map, and it was like, I learned how to do that. I took this training video, I watched these montages online, and I started learning how these guys would do it. Like, you're gonna look back and be like, that was fun. I remember when I was rubbish at this, like the journey to the top. But that's shorter, because it's a video game, it's shorter. Like a new game comes out and you used to be good at the old one and you have to learn the new mechanics. Oh, you can't slide cancel anymore. You have to do this. Oh, bunny hopping is great. You get the kill quicker. Like, I used to play all these games. Don't get me wrong, guys. Don't think I'm old. I know all the terms. And, you have to figure all that out. You have to figure out the meta. You're doing the same thing in life, and I find that fun. I find that really fun, trying to figure out the meta. Like I said again, my team, Manchester City, Pep Guardiola, for the first half of the season, he's testing. He's like, who can I rely on? Who are the players that I can rely on this season to get the job done? Like, what's working and what's not? Second half of the season, he goes, right, we've got our system, lock in, let's go. And it's just rinse and repeat. Same 5 things on repeat for 5 years. Like, he's doing that for 6 months. And then he ends up collecting all the trophies. And everyone goes, how does he do it? Same fucking system, man. Same system. Now that I'm older, I can see he's like testing, he's experimenting. He's seeing who he can rely upon. He's seeing what works, what doesn't. He's making mistakes, testing something. I'll test it again next week. Didn't work. Okay, we scrap that. We move on. You have to be this like agile mistake maker. But because of social media, you make a mistake and everyone goes, ha, he's done. He's done. He's done. Get off YouTube. You're done. Your brand's finished. And it's like, no, it's just a minor blip along the journey. It's just a learning curve. It's something that I had to do. What the hell is going on here? Yeah, it's just like, no, it's just something that I had to do. It's just a position that I had to get myself in. Following a guy on a push bike. Brilliant. Yeah, it's just something that had to happen. It's a journey that you had to take. It's a piece of information that you had to learn. That's so normal. I don't know what's happened to the world. Like, if I had a business that was off social media and you were just chipping away at it, making a few mistakes, and then eventually you nail it, everyone would be like, oh, overnight success story. But when it's on social media, it's very similar. I would describe social media as similar to like boxing records. Like, Anthony Joshua lost 1 fight and everyone went, oh, he's done, he's finished. Anthony Joshua's shit. And then he comes back, makes probably like another 150 million. Yeah, he's lost again since, but he actually got knocked out terribly. And everyone again, oh, he's done. But who knows? Who knows? He might land the big punch the next one and he wins the next fight and he goes from there. Or he might end up quitting boxing, go and having a massive career in movies or something else. Like, who knows what it'll be? I remember Dave Bautista, the wrestler, said that he'd when he left WWE, he had no money. Like, he was completely broke, and now he's one of the highest paid actors in the world. Like, you just don't know what's coming next for you, but everyone sees it as like, oh, I've made a mistake, I'm done. I saw a comment the other day, somebody said I'm 24, I feel like my life is beyond repair. I was like, that's so sad to see. That is so sad to see that you don't realize how much time you actually have to put this right. Like, you're learning stuff. You're trying to get good at stuff over time. You need piece of information. You need to meet certain people. You need life lessons. You need this guy to hurry up so I can actually get through this gap. Thank you, mate. You need all of these things in place before you can become the individual that can make that level of money, or you can make that jump in life and make that progression. Like, I've been chipping away at my fitness for years, always looking in the mirror going, oh, it's not good enough. This year I'm like, I can literally now go to the gym. I don't do this, but I could go like 1 day per week. I'd look in the mirror and be like, I'm jacked and lean. This is amazing. But it's taken like 9 years of like consistent gym work to get to that point. With business now, like, I can release a new idea, I can put it out, and it makes a lot of money on the launch. And it's just like, you can't. We're bumping into all the idiots today. What is going on? Yeah, you can't do that at the start. When I first ever launched my supplements, oh, he's about 100 years old. When I first launched my supplements, I only had 144 units in stock. I wouldn't have been able to sell many more. I wouldn't be able to afford many more. Now when we order supplements, we go for 5,000-10,000 units. Like, that's entirely different. And a lot of you guys need to learn that lesson. Are you being patient or are you being lazy? It's a big difference, guys. Stick at it.